receiver in need be, so he can kind of speak on behalf of the offense today. So we're going to bring Thrift to the running back. He had ACT boot camp or something like that today. So yeah, he's really I excuse that one.
Well, tell us about year 2 going into Elberta. Where do you feel like you are?
Well, it kind of feels like a year 1, to be honest with you. Last year was such a weird deal across the board. I mean, I got there, I believe our first day was June 1, and most people would never take a job June 1st. I think our sessions have done it.
Yeah, like 3 times actually.
But trying to jump in there that fast and get something done that quickly was crazy. And then obviously with COVID and hurricanes and all kinds, there was a time when we played 3 games in 8 days this past year. So last year was kind of a whirlwind, to be honest with you, just getting started. So it kind of feels like year 1, to be honest with you, because this is the first full off season we've had with them, but just really excited about it. I'm really excited about this group of kids. I tell you, what Elberta has is really good kids, and that's not saying anything about anywhere else, but we have really good kids who work their tails off, and they show up every single day ready to work, and they've done that this offseason. I believe this is really the first true offseason they've ever had. Before again, nothing against the former staff. They literally didn't have facilities to lift. They didn't have facilities to have an offseason, and so we were able to finish at least a really nice weight room when we first got there, and this is really the first true offseason that they've ever had. So the gains that they've made this offseason have been tremendous. We had, I believe, about 119 kids out for spring practice, which we went from 40 the year before we got there to about 119 now. We'll probably end up dressing somewhere between 90 and 95. And for 5A, that's pretty good numbers. So, yeah, really excited about the direction of this bunch.
How great, it's just talking those numbers. I mean, those are some eye-popping numbers. You're talking 90 plus.
Yeah.
5A, that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is good. The biggest thing when you're talking about numbers is just the ability to practice the way you want to practice. It's hard to practice for 40 kids. You know what I mean? To practice the way you want to practice, at the tempo that you want to practice, because you only got so many bodies. But when you've got the numbers that you need, you can practice at the tempo and get the reps that you want to get. And so that has really, really helped us. And 2, when you're able to practice that many kids, it builds depth down the road. And so you're always looking for 3 guys to play 2 spots at each position. So when you're able to have that kind of depth, especially in 5A Region 1, where you got St. Paul's and Faith and those guys, UMS, that depth is definitely going to play a huge factor. So yeah, it's been a really good deal. It helps fundraising too. So.
You've been a lot of places and had a lot of success, obviously championship contender.
Yeah.
What's it going to take to build Elberta into that? And going now into your 2nd season, I know you said it feels like your first, but to have that spring under your belt, to know these guys, implement your actual, what you want to do, how helpful is that? What's it going to take?
Yeah, it's not, honestly, Elberta's not far. Elberta's not far. It's most places when you're just starting a school, you look at the history of head coaches who take over programs. It's about a 3-year deal, and then they move on, and somebody else comes in. And those first 3 or 4 years are tough. I mean, last year they jumped from 1A to 5A, I believe. And so last year was just filled with a bunch of firsts, mixed in with COVID and hurricanes and all that type of stuff. I mean, they'd never played a 10-game schedule before. They had never played St. Paul's. They had never played Faith. I mean, you go from playing Fruitdale and Foley JV to playing St. Paul's. That's a big difference. So, and doing that really without a true off-season program. And so I think the biggest thing where I realized that we had a little bit to go last year, I think, we jumped out with Big Gulf Shores in the first game, which was a huge win for a program. But when we played Robertsdale, I think we got pushed around a little bit. And I saw where the weight room was going to play a factor in that year, in that season. And so we're not far off to answer your question. Again, I think this region that we're in is top heavy. Obviously with St. Paul's Faith and UMS at the top end of that. But I think everybody else is kind of playing for that 4th spot. But again, we were 6 points away from being in the playoffs last year. We dropped one to Satsuma that we shouldn't have lost. We were up 21-7 at halftime and ended up getting beat on the last play of the game. And so we're not far away. We're not far away. I think the next progression in this whole deal is for us to get in. And so that's our whole goal this year.
You had your first graduating class last year,
Mm-hmm.
right? Exciting.
It really was. It really was.
Some shoes to fill, though, for sure.
It really was. We lost a lot of kids. I think we had a big senior class of about 19 to 20 kids. But that being said, a lot of times when you get to those kids in June, it's obviously too late. You know what I mean? It's almost too late to reach those kids. I mean, you love them, you work as hard as you can, but these are the guys that you work down the road, and this becomes your program later on. So we've got tremendous kids that are filling those spots, and we feel really, really good about it.
Talk a little bit about your weight facility.
Yeah.
When people think of Baldwin County, they think of nice facilities all over
Yeah.
the place. How have you had to get creative? I mean, when you're up at Baby Net, you had an indoor.
Yeah, we did. It was nice. We missed it, for sure. Especially as much rain as we got in the last few weeks. But I tell you what, that being said, when they built Elberta High School, they built the school and said, you know, go ahead. There was nothing else from the athletic standpoint. Nothing against Baldwin County. I mean, Baldwin County's great, but I'm saying that's what happened. And so we took an old library, basically, or not a library. Well, we took a library and made it a locker room, which is super nice, to be honest with you, for right now. And then we took an old auditorium and turned it into a weight room with turf and 16 racks, and it's super nice. The Baldwin County Board of Education has been gracious enough to build us a brand new gym with athletic facilities in it, which is going to be huge for us. And a lot of the old stuff is going to be torn down to create some green space at the school. So it's very much needed. Right now we're having to share a gym with the middle school. So it doesn't work. You know, it's too much, it's too small, it doesn't work. And so they should be breaking ground on that gym here in the next, and those athletic facilities here in the next month or so, and it should be done supposedly by August of 22. But with the lack of workers and materials being sky high, who knows what's going to happen. It could be 24 before we do that.
Talk about participation rate. I think we talked earlier in the spring. We said you didn't have shoulder pads
No,
for all your players.
no. The first day of spring, I had to order 40 new helmets just because we didn't have enough. We're borrowing middle school helmets and all that stuff. So we put on ninth grade and all high school kids. Yeah, we just didn't have enough. Didn't have enough stuff, and so which is a good problem to have. It's a really good problem to have. And so we were going to play Orange Beach in the spring game, and they had some issues, but they had to get out of it. But that being said, we ended up in a squad and had a really, really good turnout with people in the community. People are excited. People in Elberta love Elberta High School. Man. They've wanted a high school for so long. And when we have incredible parents, I've got a group thread on my phone with about 160 people on it, and we talk every day. Just cool parents, man. They're cool people. It's been a really good deal for me. I've enjoyed Elberta High School to this point. So.
You said a minute ago y'all did inter squad, not a spring game
Yeah.
necessarily, but I saw you at South 7-on-7. You beat Murphy. I understand it's 7-on-7,
It
but
is.
hey, I mean, when you win, it
Yeah.
feels good. Bottom line, and to see those guys compete like that excitement at the end of that game. I mean, how encouraging is that?
It's very encouraging. I mean, 7-on-7 is not going to be our MO, just so everybody knows. I mean, we've got big linemen, we got two big backs that can run. Now, we've got some skilled guys, but that's not going to be what Elberta High School is known for. But that being said, even, you know, at South, we go to Foley last week, and, you know, those kids competed their tails off. Man. It was so fun to watch. It was so fun to watch them play. And you're sitting here playing McGill, or you're in Trustful and some of these other big schools, and we're in every single game we play, and had some big wins in the whole deal. And so I was really excited just coming off of that, not so much about, you know, the results of the game and how you played, but just the way they played, the way they approached it. You know, I told the kids afterwards, the only chance that we've got, you know, realistically, everybody's going to be more athletic than us. You know what I mean? That's just the way it is. But if you're more disciplined, if you do everything right, and you're more physical, and you take it to the team that you're playing, we got a chance to be successful. You know, look at UMS. You look at Bayside. You know, Bayside has kids that does everything right. They do everything right, and that's why they're successful. And that's what our MO is going to have to do. You're not going to be able to go out there. And you look at the teams that there's teams that we've played in the past who are so athletic that can't make it out of the first round. But it's because they can't do the little things right. Whereas you see teams that make it consistently to the semis and to the state championships, so you go, man, how in the world did they get there? But it's because they do every single thing right, every single day, day in and day out. And they play more physical and they do things right on Friday nights. So that's what our MO is going to have to do.
In addition to the two that you brought, who are some of the others you're counting on this season?
Yeah, Nick Thrift obviously is going to be our starting running back. He's a 220-pound back. Nobody really wants to get in the way of him, to be honest with you. He's a load. Our offensive line is going to be a veteran offensive line coming back. We're really big across the front, offensively and defensively. Defensively, we were atrocious last year. So we've had some kids that have come out to play that on that side we're going to be a lot better. We're going to be a lot better. Our secondary is night and day from what it was last year. And so Preston Bennett up front on the defensive line is a big kid. He's a 6'4", 250-pound kid. He's going to do a lot of great things for us. So Hunter Powers is stepping into the quarterback role. He'll be a junior. He's made some really good throws this year in 7-on-7 throughout spring practice, that type of stuff. So again, take 7-on-7 for what it's worth, but to see him make some of the throws that he made was really impressive.
When you took that job, what surprised you got to
I didn't really know what to get into. I knew Brandon Bailey for a long time. I think everybody knows Brandon Bailey. Our principal is a phenomenal human being. He is not just a boss to me; he's a friend that he calls me dang near every night. I mean, to the point where I'm like, dang, Brandon, we got to call him. So, but I knew Brandon Bailey, and I knew his love for Elberta High School. I knew his love for the kids here. And that was really the reason why I jumped into it. I had some other opportunities that I was really looking at as far as some defense coordinator jobs. But when Brandon called and said, hey, would you come down here and build this? You know, when I came down and visited and I met some of the people in the community, and really the kids were the thing that really sold it for me. When I walked in and saw the kids and to hear the way they spoke to you and to hear the way that they carried themselves or see the way they carried themselves, that's what surprised me. The cupboard wasn't as bare as I thought. I can remember sitting back in my office in Bay Minette when the reclassifications came out and I saw that Elberta had jumped from 1A to 5A, and I told Corey Lee, who was my defense coordinator at the time, I said, my God, those poor kids. And then I got down there and I actually saw what we had. I was like, okay, we got something to work with. And now to see where it is now with the numbers that we have out and how their gains have been throughout the off season, it's been not a surprise, but it's been a pleasant surprise, I guess you could say.
You want to get the kids up there?
Yeah. Next time.
Nate? How's it going, Nate?
Good, how about you?
Good, man. Tell us how you feel good about this team coming up.
Yeah, I feel a lot better. I mean, just the strides that we've made of everybody showing up and just how we carry ourselves this year. It's been a lot better.
Have you been there your whole?
Yes, I've been there 4 years. I came from Somerville.
Can you talk about going and playing football and JV team coaches talking about playing St. Paul, being that right?
It was definitely a shocker when we went over. Probably the first of really realizing is when we played Robertsdale, the second game, just to see the difference of going and playing Fruitdale and Pleasant Home the first games of your season, and go and play Gulf Shores and Robertsdale, and it's a big jump. Definitely, I mean, you're going and playing a team with 20 kids on it compared to St. Paul's with 70, 75, 80.
How exciting is it to see how things have changed from like the freshman sophomore year, kind of what Coach McDaniel has brought in? You by far have the coolest helmets in Baldwin County. Y'all are getting facilities. It just seems like there's like some juice in the program.
Oh yeah, I mean, I love it. I love what he's brought in. I mean, he never stops. But yeah, the helmets, they're definitely probably the best in the county.
How much does that make you just want to, compete for him, compete for the coaches, and get after it? When you got guys who are investing that much time and energy into the program, you kind of want to give that back.
Oh, yes, man. We definitely realize it, and it definitely does push us a lot more knowing that we just got these unis. He's nonstop fundraising, working at the wharf, and those new helmets, and we realize how much we've gotten this last year, and it does make us push a lot of it.
Coach mentioned that y'all were 6 points away or whatever from maybe getting to the playoffs last year.
Yes,
You realize that and realize maybe if we this year we just take a little bit further step.
Yeah, just a little thing. I mean, that's what it was last year. I mean, you go back and look at 2 plays, and that's the game versus Satsuma before, and especially on the defense side of the ball in the secondary, we just worked so much harder this summer. And you see it in 7-on-7 coming from South, and then leaping into the fold when there's strides this day and night.
What is the difference going to be on the defensive side? Because it seemed like
Um,
that high on the effort last year on the defensive side. What's going to be?
I think it boils down to effort. I think the kids that we have, the younger guys that are coming up, they work and they want to be there this summer. And I think just taking that step of seeing last year what we had to do and just the little things in the games, I think that's obviously what's going to make a big difference this year, having experience.
You shocked when you saw 120 kids in the spring ball? Like,
Oh yeah, it was a lot different. I was like, I mean, you didn't know half the kids that were out there. There was a lot of kids. There was for one coach, there was 20 kids. It was insane.
did you guys have a third string last year?
Kind of. It was like a 2B. It wasn't really like a full third string.
Probably will happen this year.
Yeah, like most of it.
Give you any like, well, like I got somebody like.
Yeah, I mean, last year you kind of got maybe one guy behind you. So building depth, I mean, it makes you feel a lot comfortable being able to rotate and having more guys out there.
How much does that help practice-wise, you know, to actually, like you said, have that depth and not everybody's playing both ways and, you know, actually, you know, build focus on what your position is?
Yes, man. It's a lot better because I mean you can run a scout team and everything's a lot smoother, and it just goes by a lot better.
All right, thanks, Nick. That? How's it going, sir? So you play DB?
Yes, sir. Safety.
Safety. Just talk about what you expect this year.
I expect a lot. I mean, like you said, defensively, we're not day better, especially in the secondary. I feel like up front and everything, we're just way more confident, a lot more physical, and being in Coach Mack's system for a whole year, we're a lot more comfortable, a lot more.
You know, Nate's like, your Coach McDaniel has coached like some of the best defenses the state has ever seen. I mean, how encouraging is that? Okay, Prattville, no. I mean, how encouraging is that to you guys to know he has that experience and he's bringing it to Alberta?
It makes it nice, he's got an answer for everything, every little thing that every team they throw at him, he'll have an answer for it. And he'll be able to patch it up real quick, and it just makes it a lot more comfortable knowing that we got a man like that we can lean on. Ask him any question we need, and he'll be there to answer for you.
How much do you love your helmets?
I love them. Whenever Coach Baldwin to me, he asked me if I like them, I'm like, Coach, you got to get them, So,
What was, did you say big difference between Fruitdale and St. Paul, or pretty even?
no, not at all. Not at all. I mean, they had, 6 or 7 dudes playing both ways with Fruitdale, and then you get to St. Paul's, and they have 2 running backs that are B1, going in and out with each other. It's like they got fresh legs in there nonstop. But it was crazy, But
But now you've seen it, you're gonna be more used to it.
yes, sir, absolutely. Yes, sir. So we're ready this year.
What about, do you play some offense or no?
I play receiver, yes, sir.
So talk a little bit about that side of the ball.
Coach Davis is real great energy. Like you said, Nick Thrift, being back there, Nick's a look, and he can do everything. He can receive. He's just an all-in-one package. And like you said, our O-line, it's a lot more physical, and Hunter Powers is doing a great job. And I feel like our receivers, we're leaning on each other, and we're being Coach Davis's playbook for a whole year. It's making us a little more confident in the playbook and knowing the plays and everything.
Being one of the leaders, how much is like these upperclassmen, the senior class, kind of in the ears of these younger guys, like, hey, this is our opportunity to go out with a bang, to make the playoffs and potentially make a run there?
Like being held accountable. We're leaning on them, they're leaning on us. I can't do it without them, and they can't do it without me. So just trusting each other. Knowing that we're doing the right things on and off the field.
Alberta's probably one of the smaller towns in Baldwin County. What makes, you guys as fans different than other high schools?
On a Friday night at Elberta, they have the whole city out there. There's nothing like Elberta. Their fans are just tremendous. I can't speak enough about them. It's gonna be a full crowd, no matter what our record is, no matter who we're playing. It don't matter. Alberta's gonna show us. It's really good tonight.
What do you like most about Coach
His suit?
He's got drift. He's got everything. I don't think about one thing. He just
been on his mafia kick lately. I don't know why.
He got through it.
And I don't know. he's got a fire underneath him, and he just don't stop like this. He's always doing something new, you know. He's always bringing something new to the table. Hey, how do y'all like this? How do y'all like this? It's just nonstop with him, and you know, it's, I don't know, man. There's so many great things about Coach.
You guys play any other sports?
Basketball.
Yeah, basketball.
All right, guys, appreciate it, Coach. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Thank all of y'all.